Hello. Give me a second, let me just like get you sorted. Okay, seems to be working. Oh, cool. Looks like everything's working. Cool. Alright. Just a quick stream just to test things. Make sure everything's working. Did say that Helldivers would not be kind of like, yeah, I did say Helldivers would not really be working last time around, but it looks like I tried to turn down the stream quality, so hopefully it is much more cooperative and doesn't lag as much. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. Give me a second. Yeah, it's going okay now. I hope it's going okay now, honestly. If it's not okay, that'll be kind of cooked, quite frankly. It should be okay, yep. Just give me a second, I'm just gonna quickly tune the stream a little bit. Actually, yeah, we were got cooked last time. I tried to turn down the OBS's output kind of like dimensions about a lot, so hopefully it doesn't lag as much. But like, it would be kind of cooked if it still lags, yeah. I don't think it should lag, so it should be okay. But we'll see, we'll see. So give me a second. Looks like everything is like excellent. Looks like that's what the connection says, but we'll see. Okay, cool. I mean, it is like the afternoon, so a lot of people won't be awake unless they're around Southeast Asia. Yeah, we're hell diving. Everyone, like, it will kind of like, might be not a lot of people unless they're in Southeast Asia, but we'll just kind of like see how the stream works. As you can see, it's a bit of a new PNG tuber. I'm going to be kind of like playing around with it just a little bit, but yeah. Kind of like actually maybe move this around just a bit more to the left. Cool, okay. Solid. Yep. Yeah, the chubby move. I changed I got someone to draw it, so like hopefully it's like much more engaging in a sense. And I can actually sort of see the chat now while you guys are talking, because I am running, like when I play the game, I am running on a single monitor setup, so I do want to be able to see like what you guys are saying in the chat while I'm playing, because I found that one of the things that happened was that last time when I was playing WoWs, for example, it was kind of like bad. It was pretty bad because I had to keep on looking on the side to see the stream and sorry, the stream chat, and that affected my gameplay significantly. So I was like searching around this time about. Hopefully it shouldn't be too problematic. There we go. Oh wait, hold up. Give me a second. Let me just like make sure I actually cannot click this by removing the menu. There we go. Now I can't click that. Yeah, the avatar is really cool. I got someone to draw it. Like the last one I did was basically just like 40 seconds of Photoshop, so it was like not as cool. But like the avatar, hopefully, is a lot better. I mean, yeah, like Helldivers 2 like is way more interesting to watch than World of Warships. Oh, sorry, like like Wuwa, right? Because I think I did say this on the last stream, but the problem with streaming Wuthering Waves is that it's really boring to watch. So I was like, kind of bad. Ooh, can't get that leg joint. There we go. Oh, there's too many harvesters here. There's actually in core 500. Okay, there we go. Okay, never mind, that guy died. I think we chopped a bit here. So what do you mean by chopped? Are we saying like the stream is cooked or like the dimensions? I think what the fuck happened to there? Okay. Ooh. Yeah, if you guys want to ask Wuthering Waves questions, by the way, I know I just posted the 3.1 video, but we'll see kind of like see how that goes as well. Okay. No, they got the ship. Okay, that's fair enough. Oh, someone has like has an AT placement. Okay. There we go. Should just use the laser cannon to save some ammo. Good afternoon. Hope everyone's having a good day. I know it's like are we the only people that can watch this stream are people like in Southeast Asia because of the timing? I think most Europeans are unfortunately kind of just asleep now, which is fine, but it's just mostly a test stream. If I'm not responding to chat, I'm just like half focused on the gameplay by the way, so you have to forgive me for that. But if you guys have anything with Wuthering Waves, let me know. I think as well, like, it says the stream is okay, so, like, I reduced the, sort of, like, the bit rate by quite a lot, so yeah. Hopefully it's okay. There's a bit of a delay, like the latency, but there shouldn't be too many issues with processing the stream. If there's anyone else that has, like, issues, just let me know, so I can kind of gauge a stream health about, like, a little bit, so that way everything works out fine. You'll see, like, no, it's fine, don't worry about it, don't worry about it. If there's like, you know, for example, like, any issues with the stream, you gotta, just let me know, that's fine, because I do need to kind of, like, quickly gauge the stream health and stuff, of course. You don't need to apologize, by the way, it's all good. Like, it's fine. Can't see shit. Oh, come on. Don't have enough. Wait for it to cool down. There we go. Held Absu is running good. What the research at the end of the main quest meant by the girl. I'm not too sure about that. I was personally thinking that it would be something along the lines of like Ameth losing her frequency a little bit, because I know we know that she overclocked because she had the merge of the Exostrator, right? So I was like kind of thinking that perhaps what the research, or like it's Cristoforo, bro. Like we all know it's Cristoforo, right? Like what Cristoforo really means by what he said is that they're probably planning to make another Frenodian resonator, and since Ameth's frequency is so weak, right? We know it's kind of like pretty weak because of the new Silent Stars event, kind of like directly mentioning it, as well as also the fact that she had to basically like give up a lot of her frequency to merge with the Exostrator. I think they're kind of leveraging that fact perhaps, and maybe trying to get Ameth to be consumed by the void in a sense, because I think like in the recent thing, like the recent events, like today they mentioned that Ameth had needed more solar skin, right? And solar skin were basically the neural paths of the brain of the Exostrator. So I'm assuming that by that they're probably going to be doing some like crazy shit, like corrupt Ameth because her frequency is so weak at the moment, and that way like they can just kind of turn her into a Frenodian resonator. Because like one of the lore points that I don't see a lot of people mention is the fact that the lab underneath Raguna, right, where they were trying to kind of like turn Mia into a Frenodian resonator with Leviathan, that lab was sending data to Lahairoi. So they're probably going to be trying to make a Frenodian resonator in Lahairoi at some point, otherwise they wouldn't be sending data there, right? It doesn't really make sense. So that's my theory, but we don't fully know if Cristoforo, or like that scientist of course, was talking about Ameth. We just don't know, right? So we have to kind of like keep our eyes peeled, I suppose, because it could be really anyone else. Like, for example, it turns out like in Renacita, Mia was the original plan, but like Rover turned into the Harbinger, right? So, and then Lupa also was like a candidate. There's a lot of people that can become a Frenodian resonator by the looks of it. So we have to kind of like keep our eyes peeled. Hopefully that answers the question. Like, we really just don't know. But my theory currently is probably it's Ameth. Because like her existence per se is already so weak at the moment. Where is bro? Oh, there he is. Can't get that. Cool. Okay. Oh, someone's using an airburst launcher. It's pretty cool. That's nice, that's nice. Illuminate defense is always not too running much better. Perfect, that's good to hear. I tried to basically reduce the output dimension significantly from OBS, so hopefully it doesn't eat up so much of my data, basically. It's actually even saying on YouTube, because like internally we have like a kind of like stream measure of like how healthy the stream is. Says it's excellent, so hopefully for most people the stream is going okay. The nuclear reactor's running better too. Yeah, like, I mean, my performance is way better. I was kind of like dumb, so like basically if you guys are wondering what happened, right, I think I did kind of explain this last stream, but in OBS, because I'm streaming through there, I'm basically just doing display capture, so that's why you guys can see the chat on the top right and stuff like that. But essentially the problem with that is like my monitor size is like 2500 something times 1000, right? So the amount of like data that has to be sent in order to stream is like substantial. So basically I I'm keeping the display capture, but making it so that the output dimension is only like 1,200 something, so that way the actual data needed to be sent is like substantially less. So that way it's way healthier for my stream and whatnot. Gambare PC, yeah. Real and true. Oh, these guys are always annoying. Okay, he's cooked. Oh, bro. Direct hit. Why we were cooked last stream? I was like kind of weird as well, right? Because on the last stream, the first part of it was fine, and it's like as soon as I went to Wuthering Waves, I think the second half was just like when my laptop wanted to like cook itself. Yeah. The connection of the New Federation. The New Federation thing is super interesting, right? I talked about this a little bit before already, but I have like, I didn't say this in the video like as directly, but I do think that the Space Trek Collective, sorry, not the what is it? The Court of Savant, bruh. The Court of Savante, right? The Court of Savante is actually based in the Federation, because if you kind of think about it, the Nameless Explorer, like the astronaut dude with the Court of Savante symbol that we currently have in game, they are not kind of, they're basically from like before the Lament, right? Bruh. They're from before the Lament, which suggests to me, of course, that something they like basically as I said in the video, the Court of Savante either existed before the pre-Lament as a separate organization, or the Court of Savante was basically like kind of like the exact same organization before the Lament, right? So it's either basically that Court of Savante was lasted a lot longer than we thought, because it's obviously a pre-Lament organization, unlike a lot of the organizations we have right now. Or, oh, someone already chopped in. Or, the other option is that the Court of Savante inherited a lot of the data and the organization from like the pre-Lament equivalent of like NASA or something, right? So what that kind of means is that basically the civilization in Solaris 3 right now that has the most spacefaring tech, the most space tech, is probably going to be where the Court of Savante comes from, right? Because from what the lore that we have in Jinzhou, the Court of Savante was basically like it's basically like a international organization with like an enormous scope, right? So I'm sure the reason why I say it's most likely New Fed is because the Court of Savante, we know, number one, does some shady shit, right? They do kind of like do like human experimentation and whatnot. We know that from Jinzhou. And the other thing is that from the Lahaire lore, we know that the New Federation is probably ahead of basically every other nation or organization in Solaris 3 right now in terms of spacefaring tech, right? They were the ones that built the Starwind Riseway and kind of like the other kind of like components of Lahairoi, like Star Torch Academy. With like the space tech was built by them, most likely because they inherited a lot of that tech from their predecessors, right? So that's why I kind of think that essentially with everything that's kind of going on, most likely Court of Savante comes from New Fed, right? And the other thing is, this is a bit of like my own little headcanon, right? This is completely like not really based on kind of like any lore entry in game, it's just kind of like my own thoughts. But judging from like everything we see from the lore current, why is this guy only doing defense? Judging from everything we see in the lore so far, right? The New Federation seems to be really heavily based on sort of like post Soviet Russia. Like I don't know if I'm just like kind of like hallucinating or something, if I'm the only person that seems to be seeing that, but it just seems to me that post-Soviet Russia, so like post 1993, after the fall of the Soviet Union, there was a really it was a terribly like anarchic time, like everything was going haywire. That sort of like atmosphere feels very sort of New Fed esque in a sense, because like New Federation, like I don't know about anything else, but it seems like there's so much crazy shit going on in the New Federation with like how they discriminate against resonators, they're abusing their sentinel. Like there's a, and then we see from the who was that guy that wanted to his name started with Y in the Act 2 story, that wanted to defect to the New Federation instead of being one of these Heliotic Six. Like, we saw like a New Federation advertisement there, right? And it seemed like so capitalistic, right? In a terrible way. So that almost seems to me like, you know, like almost screams to me like kind of like the capitalistic like exploitation from the oligarchs in post-Soviet Russia. But the other thing, of course, is that now that we know that the new Fed has the best space tech of, or we assume that it has the best space tech of basically everyone on Solaris, it just kind of makes sense to me that most likely, like that also kind of like seems a little bit inspired by Russia in a sense, right? Because Russia still has, I think, like the world's best like kind of like rocket tech, right? So they're like they've been kind of like very relevant even now in the space game for like a pretty long time. Yeah, exactly. Like it's not just me, right? Like the it almost feels like New Fed seems kind of like almost like kind of like Russian Federation kind of inspiration. Like I'm kind of glad that it's not just me that's thinking about this, because I swear this was like my own headcanon for a bit. So yeah, that's good. That's good to hear. Good to hear. Because like obviously you can't prove, like I can't prove this, but it seems so inspired by like kind of like post-Soviet Russia that like I had to kind of like just make that connection somehow. Maybe I should go up there actually, so I don't trample anyone on accidents. There's a rocket sentry. I won't trample this guy's rocket sentry. Oh, this is not a good map. Oh well, it's okay. But yeah, like as I was saying with like the rocket tech, right? Like Russia's really well known for rocket tech. We know New Fed probably inherited a lot of like the space exploration stuff from the pre-lament, and if that's the case, then it makes sense that the Court of Savante is based in the New Federation, right? Not just because they do exploitative experiments, which is like a such a New Fed thing to do, you know, as always, but also the fact that basically everything that we've heard from the New Fed so far seems to kind of imply that if there was a pre-lament kind of like space civilization, they would probably have inherited a lot of like its resources and stuff, you know? Cool, mostly cooked. Should probably go on the ground level, I can't really shoot anything from here. Oh, there's a mortar. What Fraxis doing the higher make class 1 revolution. Yeah, I do think, like, look, if you look at Monia's story, right, like, you can already see that there's a lot of classism in New Federation, because she was, like, I think Monia was, like, part of the upper class in the New Federation. So, the fact that that is mentioned and kind of, like, an important point seems to suggest to me that classism or some sort of discrimination is going to be, like, a pretty big theme and present in New Fed. It just makes sense. Yeah, like with Monia's story, you can kind of already see it is being hinted already. But classism, I mean, classism already existed. We already know that from Chisa's story, that there's some sort of discrimination, but like, even though it's not directly confirmed in a, like an obvious manner, like as I said before, like we can pretty much infer that there is some sort of classism in the new federation. Alright, let me get clear before this bomb fucking explodes. Ooh, there we go. Mega bomber. Oh, the harvester still lives. Communist revolution storyline. Actually, I think it's the opposite, right? Because I think the new Fed is based on Russia after the collapse of communism. Kind of like, you know, I don't know how much you know about like Russian history, but oh, I got killed by harvester. But basically, when the Soviet Union collapsed in the 1990s, there was like a period of 10 years or so, like that. It's almost seen as kind of like a lost decade in Russia, where I can't really even control my health on, what the hell? Where basically life and just society was just so out of control because there were no regulatory authoritative bodies that could control anything, right? So there was capitalism and stuff like that, but it was incredibly exploitative, and that's why, like, for example, in Russia right now, there's like a lot of oligarchies, right? Because all the oligarchies, basically, most of them come from the 1990s, that exploitative period. So this kind of like exploitative capitalism that we're already seeing in the new federation, because we saw the brochure, right? That, what was his name again? Like Yevgenga, well, like was looking at when he would try to betray the Royans and Lahairoi, like what they were looking at, right? Like what he was looking at was really seemed to be kind of like exploitative capitalism, right? So it's like, it's one of those things, like, you know, that like that Dexter meme, like I can't prove it, but it's just the vibes that it's giving me are like, it feels very kind of like neo-Soviet Russia core. Do I have a bomb? I do have a hell bomb. Drop that in. Oh shit. Let me pop a fire. Ooh, let me get my bomber. Need to get my bomb. Let me go for a run. Is there anything? That's not worth it. Oh well. Oh shit. Someone shot me. I'll use the Hellbomb on the next run. Yeah, Chicago's from Ashinahara. Well, you mean Chisa's is autocorrect. I was like, what do you mean Chicago is from Ashinahara? Yeah, like Chisa is from Ashinahara. And we know in Ashinahara that there is like resonator discrimination, right? We don't know if there's resonator discrimination in New Fed. I wouldn't be surprised if there is. But what we do know is that essentially there is most likely going to be some sort of discrimination and classism, right? Because of kind of like what we are seeing already with, let me just set off my bomb here, with like what we can see from Monya's story. Monya was kind of interesting as well, right? Because she was disabled and like for all intents and purposes she should have been discriminated against, but I think because Monya was from a well-off family, like she didn't really feel the brunt of it. So that's kind of like what's really interesting, I find. Yeah, Yevgenga, like that guy. The guy who tried to betray the Heliotic Six, right? Because when you go into like the hidden room in the Beata Woods, there's like a brochure for like the new Federation. And it's like kind of like so fucking funny, right? Because it's like talking about like strip malls and shit. And it's like, there's that annotation at the bottom. It's like, oh, it's like, please stop bringing this into the room. Like, Yevgenga's like legit the only person in the story so far that actually wants to go to the new Federation. Kind of crazy. So yeah. Non-resonators? Possibly. Or what would be like really interesting, right, is that maybe like very similar to Shinohara, they don't discriminate against non-resonators. Non-resonators discriminate against resonators. Because I like when you kind of think about this, right? Like in terms of like fantasy stories, it's a very common trope called a magocracy, right? A magocracy is basically a societal hierarchy which is built on people that like who know magic that are discriminated against people that don't, right? The problem is with any magocracy, like kind of like even like frequencies and like resonators and Wuthering waves, is that there's usually always less resonators than there is like non-resonators, right? So how, like, I don't, the reason why I think like a lot of resonators haven't built some exploitative world order where they are like the top faction is because there's just not a lot of them, right? There's just not enough resonators to outnumber. Oh shit, there's a grenade. There's just not enough resonators to outnumber non-resonators, right? Which is why I think there's still like a bit of an equilibrium. Like, yes, resonators are much more powerful than non-resonators, but I feel like there's just not enough of them. So they can't really, like, for example, they have to work with normal people, right? So yeah. Solaris have any contact with Solaris of Solemn? I have no idea. But we do know for sure that there is very heavy inspiration from Stanislaw Lem, his book Solaris. It's actually a pretty short read if you want to look at it. Though we have talked about that pretty extensively already. Animal Farm vibes all of a sudden? You should, right? Because George Orwell, very good author. I'm not surprised as well. Like, if they wanted to quote George Orwell exploitation, like any sort of authoritarian exploitation, like you just go to George Orwell as the first destination, right? Pretty common. Oh shit, I've got bomb or something. Ooh, let me see. Can I get a hell bomb? No, I cannot get a hell bomb. Ooh, okay. Oh shit, that's what was. Oh, what the hell? What the hell? I was wondering what's coming after me. Oh, I hate this guy. Oh, he dumped the hell bomb on himself. Okay. There's so many HMG emplacements. I'll use them, thank you. Thank you very much for the HMG emplacements. Oh, it failed the objective. Bro, okay. No, the Stingray's got the reactors. That's unfortunate. Less Animal Farm, more 19... Yeah, like, 1984 is kind of, like, focused on more on, like, the dystopian totalitarianism. Animal Farm is more so kind of, like... It is, like, authoritarianism, but more so as a social commentary. Because, like, of course, like, Animal Farm was based on Stalinism, right? And then 1984 was, like, a combination of, like, a lot of the dictatorships in the World War II era, so not just, for example, like Stalinist Russia, but also a lot from kind of like Nazi Germany and like fascist Italy, right? So yeah. Moral stand when it comes to experiment ethics, we don't know for sure if, like, for example, they're directly aligned, but I think the reason why we tend to group the Fraxidus and NewFed together is because they're just the two most kind of like questionable factions in the moment. They may not be on, like, for example, even the best of terms, which is kind of like based on what we know already. Well, yeah, it's pretty interesting. I mean, New Fed is always going to be a hot topic. I personally think that after Lahairoi, maybe after 3.5, the New Federation is going to be our next destination. Because we're getting the Cyberpunk collab around like 3.4 or 3.5, right? So like it just doesn't really make sense to me that we're gonna be doing the Cyberpunk collab in Lahairoi, right? So kinda like it just makes me think like the New Fed seems like the perfect place to do the Cyberpunk collab, right? Which is like my leading theory in terms of like why New Fed is gonna be the next region is because of Cyberpunk. And we know that Kuro does like plan multiple patches. They work on multiple patches at once, right? So in a sense that like we know that if they have planned New Federation from the get-go, from like very early on, then they will be placing a Cyberpunk collab within there, right? Like the Cyberpunk collab was announced like a whole year ago, which is like kind of like, you know, there's a lot of planning and foresight that goes into that. You know what I mean? So it just seems to me that Cyberpunk collab, New Fed is probably gonna be like the way to go. Maybe not in Star Torch, possibly, but like where else, right? Like within Lahairoi, like what other region do you have? Like you have the Frostlands, which doesn't really make sense for a Cyberpunk collab, and then perhaps like an underground area, right? Which doesn't really have like the urban infrastructure and like the mood and the setting to kind of facilitate that. So that's why I'm kind of thinking like New Fed. Like New Fed is like the best, kind of like this dystopian, almost authoritarian city. Like that mirrors like Night City within Cyberpunk, right? But like I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Like we don't know, for sure. But it's just we're just speculating. But personally, I think New Fed. New Fed is like where we're getting Cyberpunk collab. Yeah, like I think Lahaira is going to be short. Like I think as well, I did say in my kind of speculation, I think like since we're already getting AMF in 3.1, that was way ahead of what I thought it was going to be, right? So I think they may be trying to compress the story a bit, similar to what they did with like the 1.0 story, where they did Mount Firmament and the Black Shores and stuff like that. And probably Lahairoi story ends within like four patches, like by 3.4 or something, right? And basically, we're going to be going to maybe we'll have like an interim patch 3.5 going into sort of like the new Fed, where it's kind of like almost let's just call like 3.5 almost like a Chisa patch, right? Like you're not going to new Fed just yet, but you have a small kind of like new Fed-esque map extension which works well with Cyberpunk. That might be kind of like what's happening, but we don't know. Some kind of stray, yeah, like that's what I was saying. Like it's kind of like a Chisa patch, right? Like some sort of stray sonorosphere within like an urban area, which just matches kind of like the cyberpunk vibe. That might make sense, and that could serve as like a narrative bridge between Lahairoi and kind of like New Fed, maybe. Hmm. Help this guy out. Is New Federation like Super Earth? Maybe. I mean, they're both totalitarian regimes. I don't think the New Fed like propaganda is as heavy as Super Earth propaganda, but perhaps we're interacting a lot right now with authoritarian regimes. Interesting. Let's go laser cannon and arc dog. Is this the new Wuthering Waves update? Bro, who knows? I don't think they're in space yet, though. It can't be the Wuthering Waves update, because according to Scott Rebel, we haven't broken out of space yet. Haven't broken containment to space yet. That's literally what New Federation was? Interesting. Wasn't Scott Rebel also from the New Federation? Like, I don't know if, like, this is for sure, but I'm pretty sure like there was mentioned somewhere like Scott Rebel was from the New Federation, and then he eventually settled and died in Lilyland or something. Like, am I like going schizo, or like did I read that somewhere? I don't even know. Authoritarianism. Yep. I mean, look, authoritarianism and like or whatnot is always going to be a hot topic because it is like politically relevant. It is like pretty heavy on the socio-political kind of like consciousness, I would say right now, on the zeitgeist because of like world events. But let's not talk too heavily on that because you know we everyone knows kind of like what's happening. But yeah, yeah, like exactly. Like I remember, like it said, like Rebel was from the New Federation. He went to the kind of like academy, right? And then eventually he settled and died in Lilyland or something. Like I don't know if I'm like going schizo if that's what happened, but I'm pretty sure that's what happened. No? Did you try Enfield personally? It would be interesting, Enfield, but I think I did say this last kind of like Wait, where do I have to throw? Oh, I have to throw this over there. Okay, I think. The thing with Enfield is that I have no problems with the game, but as I said last stream, I try to play one gacha game at once. Like, I don't play more than one gacha game at once, just for kind of like mental health reasons almost. So I kind of like stick with Wuthering Waves for now, just for the sake of it. You know what I mean? Oh shit. Okay, didn't throw it far enough. So like I didn't install Enfield. I don't plan on playing anytime soon as long as I play Wuthering Waves, because of just like I only play one gacha game at once. Rebel is your mom. Okay. I love how, despite the slapstick nature of Helldive, it's like a tier below 40k. I would say 40k is probably like much more powerful as a universe. If you're gonna go into like the verse battles kind of sort of thing, like 40k is probably much more powerful than Helldivers as a universe. But like the slapstick nature of it is definitely a part of Helldivers that a lot of people like, because after all, you know, like it is just very interesting. Like it's like satirical in a way which like is funny, right? The thing with, like, for example, a lot of authoritarian satire like Orwell 1984 is that it's depressing, right? It's just really depressing. It's satire, but it's really depressing. But the thing with like Helldivers is like the authoritarianism is like comedic, and that is much kind of like much more sort of like approachable, right, in a way, and funny, I suppose you could say. Because a lot of like 1984 is depressing. Like a lot of satire is just like that, unfortunately. I'll go back. Actually, I'll clear the city before I get the sort of thing. Oh shit! Okay, there's a harvester there. Okay, I'll run it down. Okay. Can my Arc Dog do something? Oh my god. Can my Arc Dog just zap these Lotus, please? Thank you. Oh my days. Okay. Oh shit. Oh, I fucking hate overseers. Do you think Siglum and Amif are gonna have more relation? Other than the name, I mean, of course, I think the name by itself is already incredibly significant because of what the Siglum and the Amif like means. But we have to see, right? Because we don't know exactly. Like, one of the biggest questions is like we don't know what happened to Siglum for them to be kind of like hostile and fighting us. So, like, for example, was it corrupted by the Void Storm? Or something, like, we don't know for sure, right? So we have to kind of wait and see for that and see how they're connected, because we know, like, definitely now, based on the Echo description, that Siglem and Ameth are very connected, right? Like, like Siglem is literally an Echo that only Ameth can use, so, you know, it's gonna be pretty relevant to their character, but we don't know how that connection works just yet. Yeah, for sure. Like Scott Rebel is a very important character. We know that for sure. Let's see. We'll get a Gatling barrage on that. And is there only one left? Should only be one left, by the looks of it. Pop his head. There's a mortar guy over here. Oh, there's a flesh mob. I'll just thermite this guy. Can't be bothered. And then we'll go back for the. Let me get rid of this guy, I guess. We'll just get the flight transponder, and then we will run. Oh, I don't have grenades left. Let's get this. Like the black box. We have to run it to where? Run it to there. Oh, bro's got a car. Thank you. Thank you, my good sir. Let's see if bro's a good driver. Yes. So while my Uber, I'm catching my Uber to the upload points. Let's read the chat. Okay, so just found a score source. It's called Rebel. It's an NPC producer. So yeah, yeah, exactly. I know it was there. Like I know it was there. I've read it somewhere, right? So I was like kind of like thinking like definitely gonna be have like at least some plot relevance. How about Court of Savante? I already talked about the Court of Savante like 10 minutes ago, but basically, a Court of Savante, I would say, is most likely to do with the new Federation from my current estimations because it is just so relevant to kind of like stuff and so relevant to space travel. Oh crap. I think my teammate needs a bit of help. I think. Ooh, okay. Oh shit. This is not skibbity, not skibbity. Okay, let's go, let's go. Let's go! Bro needs to drive me to Black Box area. Because, you know, Sol, it's a space station close to the surface. We don't know if the space station is Sol, though. That's kind of like the thing. I've heard a lot of people talk about it, but we don't know for sure if that space station is Sol in the first place. Yeah, it's multiplayer co-op. Yeah, it's like, you have like, you basically, it's co-op with like 4 people, basically. Are you planning to stream on Twitch? Probably not. I'll think about it, but I'm not too kind of like focused on streaming. I think I did say this last stream, but I'm not really super focused on streaming because like obviously I still do videos and stuff, right? Pog driving skills. Yeah, I'm just catching my Uber because I need to get to like, you know, like the the kind of like you see like where S1 is. Like I have the black box and like I need to drive. Need someone to drive me there. Like, bro, just it's like my Uber basically. All right, let's go. So probably not. I probably won't stream on Twitch. Just because like I like to keep it kind of low key. I still focus on videos. I don't stream as much. The reason why I needed to kind of stream is because we're doing like the 500 pools for Ameth kind of sort of thing. So we need to do that. Yeah, it was like new Fed is like this exactly. I mean, I didn't play Helldivers today because we're going to be talking about new Fed. I play Helldivers because it's way more interesting to watch. But yeah, I mean, definitely a lot of authoritarian regimes and whatnot seem to focus on like what is bro doing? Why is he just army held him? Yeah, it seems to kind of like have to do with you know, authoritarian regimes, and New Fed seems about as authoritarian and discriminatory, probably whack as they come when it comes to Lord of Wuthering Waves. This guy's driving skills may kind of not be it. Did he get knocked out? Okay. I think it would have been faster, honestly, if I just walked. Yeah, I think I'll walk, bro. I'll walk. Thank you. My God, Helldive Rover. I'm gonna say, yeah. I don't. I'm kind of proud of Land Rover 4x4 though. I don't want to kind of like change that. So that'll be my name for the foreseeable future. I can finally use my primary weapon. What is this? Oh, it's a machine gun. Okay. Okay. Spectre Rover. They literally do it. Yeah. I mean, Spectre Rover. Yeah. Kind of is a bit of a salute. Yeah. Transport core catching sprays. Helldive seems a civil war regarding balance on Reddit. Are you Team Milsim or Power Fantasy? Okay. I won't talk too much on that because I'm not like that much of a veteran of Helldivers. I only started playing this like a couple months ago, right? Personally, I do think the game has a lot of balance issues and Arrowhead is misdirected. I have much more like concerns, honestly, about the game's optimization than the balance, to be frank. Completionist Helldivers enjoy. Yeah, of course. Why are you not? I mean, why would you not be completing every objective in Helldivers? Yeah, I'm not a Creek veteran. I joined basically during the defense of Super Earth, so like, kind of like I date from there. Should be how many objectives? One, two, three. Yeah, I'm showing that on them all. Upgrade my CPU for this game. God damn. It is like, yeah, like the game is rather poorly optimized. At least, right? They did finally reduce the game file size, but they literally had to hire a third-party studio to do it, and it was like, like they managed, like the third-party studio managed to compress this game from 120 gigabytes down to, I think it was 30 or 40. They literally by minimum reduced this game's size by one third, like by two-thirds, right? So next time you guys go complain about how terribly optimized Wuthering Waves is, just remember Helldivers. Helldivers as a mainstream game exists, right? Like this game is like actually the definition of like terrible game optimization. If they turn aim up to Fernando's Resonator, have another banner. I don't think so, but like, because like obviously I think with like kind of how the story's going, we won't let that happen. But I do think currently with like the dialogue from the end of, like researcher Christopher at the end of Act 2 from 3.0, they do want to create a Frenodian's Resonator, but I don't think they're going to succeed in doing that per se, because there's a lot of evidence that we talked about already today that kind of points towards that. But yeah. Should we just call in a drop on purpose? I need to do something while I'm like waiting for my extract. She 3.1 is gonna get chopped, I think. Yeah, definitely. I mean, 3.1 is like actually kind of crazy though, don't you think? Because like the map expansion is like humongous. There's probably gonna be a lot of stuff that kind of like pops out. And I think I did say in the recent video as well, but it kind of went against my expectations because I did think oh shit, the car's on fire. I did originally think that 3.1 was going to be us diving underground before we go above ground. But I'm kind of like revising that theory because now I kind of think that what's going to be happening or occurring is that the world is kind of like flipped from what we originally guessed. So if you've checked out my theory videos, you'll know that basically I was linking the world of Laharoid, like the different levels, to basically kind of like the Norse world, right? And one of the things about that was that we thought that Niflheim, the world of ice, was at the very bottom of the world, but now I think it's at the very top. And the void at the very bottom of the Norse world is actually space, right? The battle of like the land of the gods is actually at the very bottom because Fernodian, Virunga, Loki, they're the god, right? We have got to fight them at the end of Ragnarok, that sort of thing. So like, I have to rethink my structure of the Hyrule, but yeah, I might make a video on it actually because like we still have about like a month, no, not a month, like a week or so before Ameth's banner drops, and might make a video between then. But if there's anything you guys really want to see me talk about, just like maybe suggest it. I still have like a week that I can kind of work on content before Ameth drops, so looking maybe do something about that. Shuttle is landing. You go underground, you go to the top first. Yeah, I mean, originally what I thought was that basically the Fernodian Virunga is kind of like in, like almost about to break out. I think S1 is not going to make it. Oh, he's going to make it. Basically, the Fernodian Virunga is going to break out, and that's why I thought we need to go underground to kind of like at least read the situation before Ameth comes. But then I made that theory before I realized that Ameth was coming in 3.1, which was much earlier than anticipated. Yeah, Patrick, that's actually what I thought as well. Because I think last stream someone asked, like, if your inverted understanding of the Norse world, if space is a void, then what is the etheric sea? The etheric sea is probably like the kind of like cover. Maybe it is like Gnunga Gap, or like the cover between the world, right? Because if you guys remember, I think I did talk about this once, so if you didn't catch it, that's fine. But at the beginning of the world in Norse mythology, there was only the void called Ginnungagap, right? And the first two planets to come out of that void was Niflheim, the world of ice, and Muspelheim, being the world of fire. And because they were kind of like attracted to one another, the ice of Niflheim was affected by the fire and the heat from Muspelheim, and the water that came out of it, was the basis of the rest of the world. So perhaps that melting ice, that water, could be represented by the Etheric Sea in Royal mythology. Maybe that's the case, but we don't know. Network issue. I haven't really kind of like thought much about the Heliotic 6 because we know about the Shaper, but besides, like, the thing with the Heliotic 6, right, is that it's good for people that don't, like, haven't really kind of looked into lore, but since we've already looked into lore pretty extensively from, like, other sources, the thing with the Heliotic 6, right, sorry, I can't speak today, is that besides just the existence of the Helio Gaia, which we actually already knew because it was a description of a forgery challenge, right, besides that, we all, like, what the Heliotic 6 tells us are things we already know and can decipher from other aspects of Lahiro's lore. So it's not really telling us anything like completely out of the ordinary or something. Like, most of the stuff that's telling us, we know already, right? The etheric seas are like our ozone layer, possibly. There's a lot of theories you can kind of make about the etheric sea. If you guys really want, I can make a video on the etheric sea, because I think that's kind of like one of the most misunderstood topics in Wuthering Waves. But so yeah, maybe we can kind of like talk about that. But there's a lot of things about it that we have to compile, and a lot of things that we're basically inferring, right? Because we don't have the most clear lore in the etheric sea. It's kind of like taken as something that's given, that's mentioned by NPCs in the world, but it hasn't been really talked about in the story a lot, because it doesn't have, it just hasn't reached that degree of plot relevance yet to warrant a appearance in like the main story, if you know what I mean. These cognition jammers, annoying. It's over there. I guess these guys get the camp and I'll get the cognition jammer. Yeah, if you guys want a video on the etheric sea, I'll make it. Because as I said, I still have like a week. There's still a week before like AMF releases, right? So we can afford to start on a video between then. It's probably wet. I think it is wet. It is literally an ocean. Like, when they say it's an etheric sea, they literally do mean it is an etheric sea. They aren't capping when they say it's an etheric sea. Am I just like getting like blocked? Yeah, I think I am actually. When they say the etheric sea was an ocean, I don't think they were kidding. Final era Lua will be space. Perhaps. We might even be kind of like see a snapshot of space before that even. Who knows? Oh, bro died to a grenade. Ooh, can I jump over that? No, I cannot. It's annoying. More relevant next patch? Yeah, for sure. I mean, hopefully like next patch what's going to happen is that we get more info on basically what space is going to look like and whatnot, because it would be a shame if that doesn't happen. Let's see, how to disable power sources, boom, that one's gone, should be one over here, yes. That one's gone, there we go, too easy. Okay, let's go to clearing the city. Maybe they use a rover armor from CBT. I don't know what the rover armor from CBT looks like, by the way. So, could be interesting, but not too sure. Did that, like, ricochet just break my leg? Damn. What do we have next? Okay, clear the other cognition disruptor, I'm assuming. Okay. They give something about left one's appeal from the whole... Oh shit, I hate this guy. Not a big fan of these overseers. And there's a flesh mob, of course there is. The flesh mob glitches out of the car, as always. As is typical. I have to rely on my dog to kind of like clear these guys out, and I'll just move to the next zone. Maybe I'll drop a eagle behind me. That might be the best play. Drop an eagle on my feet. Trace and aim for the same VA. Oh, do they? That's pretty interesting. I didn't actually know that. See, I'm pretty sure my laser can destroy these towers. No, it looks like they don't have the det force to do that. Okay. Alrighty then. To pop a grenade in, I think. Okay, there we go. Perfect. Get that guy before he zaps me. Hellbomb. Oh. And I'll get that one as well before it zaps me. Cool Gatling barrage on that. Hellbomb's coming in. And we will get these people while we go out. Just thermite that. Oh, things getting kind of hot. There's a harvester there as well. Yeah, okay. I don't think there was anything I could do there. CBT had a few flashbacks, memories of Rover's past. Space to try from a different planet. It was like the thing with CBT though is that like basically everything was rewritten. So I wouldn't fully trust it, but it is. I guess it's interesting to speculate, right? But I wouldn't fully trust it. Because, like, basically, everything was written from the ground up from CBT onwards. And, like, you guys know, like, kind of, like, you know... Like, the 1.0 story was kind of suboptimal in some ways. So, like, they definitely did rewrite some parts of it. I do think one thing they do have is that they have, like, pretty far, like... They did think pretty far ahead for a lot of kind of, like, their plans for the story. It's just that, like, you know... Give me a second. Hold on, give me a second. Hold on. Someone's calling me. Yeah, they can use some parts. Could be a spacesuit, one of the cinematics. Yeah, possibly. Give me a second. Oh, of course it's a flesh mob. Where's my stuff, by the way? I can't actually get out of here. I couldn't get out of here, which is kind of like crazy. Give me a second, I need to take a call. Yeah, hold on. Yes. We've already started. Yes. Yes. No, it's not Merchant of Venice. She has another one. It's like Keats. No, that's a more ATX and horrible actually. Merchant of Venice is too expensive. Yeah, we already went through motion awareness. We have lectures on that. Yeah, for sure. Oh, of course. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. I was like actually envisioning that she joined last week because of like Michelle's learning, but basically, because we started one day last week, right, and we started through platform use, so it's not her text, but next like this week. Sorry, I'm getting it confused. Um, yeah, yeah, for sure. It's not her text, but it'll make basically understanding next week's lesson easier because this week's, yes, sorry, this week's lesson easier because this week we're just gonna be going for a poem analysis. Yeah, but yeah, like basically after that, because of like the structure, we'll go through her text basically starting from the week afterwards. Next week. No, basically next week. Sorry. Yeah, because we're just like the schedule's a bit tight, so we'll just do 2 weeks of text. Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Yes, that's correct. Yeah, okay, that's fine. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Yeah, yeah, for sure. Okay. Oh, yeah, no worries. No worries. Have a good one. Sorry, guys, just had a call from work. Oh shit, what the fuck? Very unfortunate that I get off my work call as soon as a vote list starts charging at me. Why is there like so many overseers here, man? Not a big fan of these overseers. Where is the next objective anyway? AMF and Trace have the same VA. Oh, that's a bit peculiar. Ooh, okay. Alright. Guess it's out of the shit now. Okay, the idea of Lord Arbiter. Gonna use something crazy. Like, I mean, look, the thing with the Lord Arbiter is, like, maybe, like, okay, the thing with, like, the Lord Arbiter and how, like, the Shaper of the Heliotic Six talks about that, like, the way I see it, right, is that basically, the Heliotic Six are connected with the Exostrider, probably it's, like, collective consciousness, and the Exostrider definitely seems to have some um, past kind of, like, experiences, I suppose you could say, with Rover. So that's probably kind of like why the Heliotic Six call Rover the Lord Arbiter. Because even though the Exostrider is not a Sentinel, it's very likely that they still did have a bit of a connection with them in the past. Possibly like kind of like the Exostrider is like almost like a Sentinel replacement in a sense. Like who knows? Get my canine. Oh my god, this fucking stingray, man! Like you can never see stingrays like when they attack you from this like angle. It's annoying. There's another stingray coming, I think. Yeah. Couldn't get it. Oh shit. Yeah, never mind. I jumped into the stingray. Good job. Oh, so annoying. So they're a bit bland. I mean, it's just like they just don't know anything. Like, I find a lot of like the gacha protagonists. Like, I haven't played Enfield, but I've heard from like some friends that like Enfield's protagonist also suffers from that problem, where they just don't know anything. So like, I don't know how to feel about that personally, but yeah, like because obviously it is like a bit of a narrative device, but at the same time, like I can understand a critique of like why people find that limiting. Oh, this fucking stingrays, bro. Lord Arbiter enter the mecha ones. Yeah. I feel like as well the Exo doesn't seem like it has anything piloting it, no? It's probably like some sort of technology that allows people to sync with it, but probably not pilot it in a sense. Where is my laser cannon? Where is thine laser cannon? And why is there... I'll just throw my dad, I guess. Where's my laser cannon? Oh, it's over here, okay. Man, this shit is so annoying. Fucking stingrays, rare. Where is my... Okay. How did the flesh mob, like, ragdoll me from there? So annoying. Okay, I'm just gonna arm the helm on. Get the fuck out of here. Cass carrier curse, yeah. Getting grief by Cass. No, it's just like, I mean, stingrays are not really that annoying now, because like if you just have medium pen, you grief them, but it's just this map in particular, because there's 4 buildings blocking our side paths, that stingrays are so annoying. And like, because you have to stay on the cap because of it's like, you know, it's like a super, like it's a flag objective, like you can't really escape the stingrays. Lost for years. Yeah, exactly. Like, there needs to be kind of like foresight and planning. Like, not just in gacha games, really, but like any live service game that has a significant lore or narrative component. Okay, I nearly got crushed. Oh my days, why is there so many? God damn. Let's just activate a fucking evil, fuck it. Fuck it, where's my... I want my laser... I don't think I'm getting my laser cannon back, actually. Never mind. Yeah, I don't think I'm getting my laser cannon back, to be frank with you. Can I get my laser cannon back? No, I cannot. Oh boy. Oh boy. Bruh. Actually getting grief. Alright, let's go. Let's get out of here. we don't have any lives to waste. Okay, this guy's a pretty decent driver. Considering there's no paved roads, it's pretty good driver. Oh, there's someone behind us. No, I won't shoot him. Oh, rip. Okay. Oh, my ass. Just run them over. Okay, that works as well. Alright, let's cool down. I don't have my stuff. Ooh, hold on. Hold on. Let me use my let me use the heavy machine gun. Okay, that works as well. Okay. Also, like, hopefully a famous, pretty good driver comment. Yeah. Well, at least he didn't kill me. At least he didn't kill me. So, we should be good. Oof. I think, did he die? I think bro died. Incredible game design in Flesh Mob, by the way. I think I need to drop a 500 on our face. Unless we get cooked. Yeah, there's a... Am I the... Okay. This is our last life, by the way, so... After this we are completely cooked. Should be good though, should be good. What, easy if you're patriotic enough? Yes. Roya Tribe World Quest. They're the natives of Frostlands or something? Yeah, no, the Royans are the natives of the Frostlands. They were basically banished down because of... What the fuck was that? They were banished down because of the Lament. The Lament and then basically the Frenodian Virunga basically banished them down, and it forced them to kind of like live underground in Lahairoi, right? I think you can actually see it a little bit with Ameth's cinematic salvation, how essentially part of that kind of like shows a scene which we assume is from the past, which shows the kind of ground cracking open and the world above basically kind of like turning to crap, right? And all of that kind of like is basically what happened to the... Oh shit. Basically that is what happened to kind of like the Royan people. So they were originally the natives of the place above, but they were banished to live underground. Have you ever tried any other naval games? No, I have not. We don't know if Ameth is Royan. We don't know for sure, but I'm going to assume for all intents and purposes... Wow, this guy was not patriotic. He was just shooting the pelican. Not good, not good. Yeah. But I'm assuming that basically kind of like Ameth, if she was Royan, it's not very obvious. She seems to have just been a pretty normal student 10 years ago. We need DFA and HD too. Yeah, that's fine. I mean, the Stingrays are not really that hard to counter. It was only during that particular moment when, for example, there was like 4 buildings and we had no sight lines on the sky. That was annoying, but it's usually okay. Don't forget to tank the Pelican driver. Yes. Be some roids. Yeah, definitely there could be some roids. We already know that there are people, right, in the upper layer. And if you look around the map, there are like actually Royan NPCs that have actually visited the world above. So we know for sure that basically they have been above even after Ice Age, because one, some of them of course explore and leave the place, right? And two, a lot of Royans actually have to act as shepherds. to guide a lot of the exoswarm back to the exostrider so they can basically remerge. And besides that, we also do know that the Space Trek Collective and the Polar Collective, what it was used to be called, they are definitely in Lahairoi right now. And they actually explored and settled the world above before they came underground to Lahairoi. It's gonna kind of like, how long has the stream been going? It's been a while. But hopefully, like, kind of like, I was just mostly testing kind of today, like, how good the stream is going. Because, like, one of the issues that came up with last time we streamed was that the first half was kind of okay, but the second half was not. Do they leave via the elevator? They actually, so, okay, how it basically works, right, is that usually they leave via the elevator, but before the Starwood Riseway was constructed, the Royans actually had a way to basically move out, right? Which is they literally climbed the cliffs, right? They literally climbed the mountains and the cliffs next to Lahairoi to basically go to the world above. So if you read the Beata Woods lore, you can see like the accounts of like what the shepherds do. There was something called the Great Climb, and they had to climb mountains literally to reach the surface to guide the exoswarm to the exostrider in the world above. But now they have the Starwood Riseway, so the Royans, of course, also use the space elevator because they don't need to climb mountains anymore, right? Hearing that after exostrider hit the ground with sword, actually destroy the planet. I mean, possibly, but I think it is a little far-fetched, but don't know, we'll see, Way back then, people were talking about lots about evil anti-air, etc. Strike shame that went nowhere. Yeah, I mean, like, the thing with, like, the anti-air strike, I think, would, like, it would, how do I say, like, it wouldn't have much of a use case, because, like, do you really hate stingrays that much? Like, I mean, mostly it's just done to probably take down dropships and stuff, but yet again, like, shooting down bot dropships actually don't kill devastators, and they don't kill a lot of the bots inside. And the other thing is that with the Illuminate, right, the Illuminate is kind of like what matters, but the Illuminate dropships have energy shields, so that's kind of like a bit of a problematic component. Got kidnapped by Fraxis like Sigrika. I mean, we know that Sigrika is kind of like one of the Heliotic Six, no? Or like really famous. Like, she's our leader. She's one of the leaders of the Royans. And she's also really famous on campus, so I don't think she got kidnapped by the Fraxis, assuming she's so famous. Yeah, there's dragon. That's true. There's dragon roaches. I mean, dragon roaches did get nerfed though, so it's like not as bad. But yeah. Well, maybe stream just a little bit. Maybe reach like 1.5 hours, and we'll kind of stop the stream because this is again like, mostly kind of like a test stream, just to see how the stream would function in regards to, of course, like not buffering and glitching like last time. But it's good to see that it works much better this time around. Let's see, like maybe if you guys are kind of like, I don't know, engaged, we'll kind of like maybe play like some, I think you still need to do Elusive Gateway, so we might do that. Because like usually like the reason why I was like streaming Helldivers in the beginning was, of course, like Helldivers is a lot more interesting to watch than kind of like Ruwa, so yeah. We'll do kind of like our fantasies because we do need to do that. I don't have Augusta, so it looks like I'm just going to be running the normal Cardiff team. Thunder. Oh, all of these kind of suck. What the hell? Casting Echo Skill. Shield. Man, these all kind of suck. Maybe we'll just do a Frolova team, I guess. It's kind of scuffed because I don't actually have like a proper Frolova team, but we'll see. Hasn't been introduced yet? Yeah, definitely. We'll kind of have to see how that works out. Like, I think Lucilla, like, is definitely kind of employed. I mean, I would have like I think a lot of people say like, oh, why did she never show up yet, even though she's such an important person. I do think like one, she is employed, but like as I would have admittedly liked to see her name mentioned a bit more, personally, but like with sort of like Kuro, like a lot of characters get sidelined quite quickly because of plot reasons and also because they have jobs. So I wouldn't be too concerned, but like yeah, we'll see how it goes. I might actually move the chat out of the way a little bit because I can't actually see my resonators, but it should be fine. I guess we'll just have to play not knowing when my concerto energy is up. Yeah, because the banners run out. I mean, the thing is, there are some, like, resonators who are still kind of, like, relevant even after the banners are over. Like, Cartafia, right? But I think I did tweet about this. Cartafia is, she's, like, basically unemployed, right? She can do whatever the fuck she wants. So can Chakona. So, I don't know about that. You gotta give Kuro time to make the 3D models. Yeah, for sure. For the record, I can't actually see my Concerto energy right now because the chat is blocking it. So if I have some odd gameplay choices, probably because of that. But yeah. Guess we'll save that. Show up in a school episode, who knows? Possibly. I mean, yeah, well, Lucilla's kind of like running the school now, so I hope that, you know, they show up in a school scene because they run the school. Max HP. Max speed, take that. Yeah, that'll be fine for now. Yeah, I know. But like still, like kind of like if I do make some questionable gameplay decisions, you know why that is, because I can't see like a very important part of my screen at the moment. But I mean, you know, like I'm finally actually talking about Wuthering Waves and actually playing the game, not just like playing another game. So kind of crazy. Increase total damage. I mean, we got a lot of time with Shisa. Like, I mean, I kind of hate to say it, but I do think Shisa also is kind of busy with school. I do agree that perhaps there could have been like a meetup session with Rover, I guess, but I'm not too overly concerned with like Chisa's place in the story at the moment because, I mean, like she like you know she has shit to do, right? I mean, maybe you could have met Chisa's parents, maybe, but I think that would take away from the narrative direction that Kuro needs to push with like the new story too much. So like they just don't really mention it. Sure. Take that. Oh, they just died? Okay. Oh, okay. We'll claim that. Wu are not cooking my PC? Yeah, I think it was mostly because of like how much I was trying to like how much of an output I was trying to stream from OBS last time, but I'm minimizing the output now, so it's much more manageable, I should say. It is still kind of scuffed because I can't see a lot of my screen, but that's okay. It's manageable. Like as someone else said, it's like it's like well, it's not. This is not exactly whimpering ways to have to min max anything. Actually, hold on, Showkeeper can pop out. Is there anyone else? Oh, them. Consent chaser text, that last story quest. Possibly, yeah. I mean, look, there's always like kind of like some improvements to be had, but like I was kind of the camp that I really didn't have that big of a problem with how 2.8 was handled. Honestly, like I thought it was like a casual, nice story quest, especially after kind of like 2.7 was like really good. Like, and I don't mean that like you can't have two really good story quests one after the other, but 2.7 was just very heavy in terms of kind of like the stakes. So like a lot of the time a lot of people I think would prefer to have a more chill story quest with 2.8. That's just how I see things. I mean, yeah, like, I personally also agree. Like, companion quests, I think, should have stayed. The only real issue I see with companion quests is that sometimes they gatekeep important story information behind them. So, for example, some of details in Cantarella's story quest, like, a lot of people would have really preferred to know in terms of, like, the overall overarching Lahairo story. But if you can basically make it so that companion quests aren't they aren't gatekeeping information essentially, right? If the companion quest can manage to do that, I think it's completely fine to have companion quests, and I would really, of course, prefer to have them. But I think with the direction Kuro's taking, companion quests, considering their quality, right? Companion quests are very difficult to essentially kind of like do consistently, because if you see like Chacona, was Chacona? Yeah, no, sorry, Cantarella's encore story companion quest, like that shit was gas, right? But in terms of production scale, like it's really difficult to do that like all the time. I can't actually see what these metaphors. I'm just going off of guesswork. I'm just gonna take that one, I guess. Certain other game. It's only, yeah. No, I don't believe that's sort of from beginning to end. Well, what? So I'm not like entirely kind of like certain what other game you guys are talking about. But yeah, I might just be a little bit kind of like out of touch. Because I like, frankly, haven't played that many gacha games. Getting no like cute moments, yeah. Like that would definitely be fine. Like as long as the companion quest isn't gatekeeping a lot of like plot details. Like I do kind of get that like Kuro does gatekeep a lot of plot details already, out in like kind of like external lore. But that's what I've kind of like always been saying with Kuro. Like the way they do the storytelling, I feel like they're trying to pander to two audiences at once. Because of course you have exactly enough to only have to use one wave plate. They're trying to pander to people that don't play the story, but as well as basically people, sorry, not don't play the story, but basically people who don't pay too much attention. They're mostly there for the gameplay. Like you can still have a coherent story and understand what Kuro's doing, primarily based on, for example, like the main story quest, right? But you miss out so much on like external value, and other things that are mentioned if you just don't read the map lore, don't explore the map and all that sort of stuff. And I think that when you kind of take into consideration Kuro's story is much deeper than just the main story quest. And I think that's one of the strengths of it, but at the same time, there's only a partial audience of people that would actually kind of like play that, like go that deep, right? Which is kind of like perhaps you guys, I'm assuming, since you guys do like watch my content. But yeah, like it's just Kuro's story feels like it's being designed for two separate audiences, which I think is not inherently a bad thing, but it does result in some problems sometimes, in terms of kind of like the overall design, their holistic plan for what they want to do with the story, as well as kind of like also like other components. Like Wuthering Waves' lore is actually kind of like I think it used to be kind of scattered before, but like with how they revamped exploration with kind of like in Lahairoi, like it is much better now because you have like the map lore all in one place, and the map lore already gives like a crap ton of info, right, about how the world works. So it's already like super big in that regard. Map design, shape of Lahairoi. I actually really enjoy the map design. I think Lahairo's map design is something which is like I feel like is pretty difficult to pull off, right? What I mean by that is that there's like a kind of like dual theme of kind of this enlightenment-esque architecture and attitude combined with like this soap opera like space opera kind of like scientific vibe. And then you also have kind of like this techno neo Norse mythology like perspective, right? It's really interesting, and it's really hard to manage both of these things together, I feel like. And the fact that they are able to do that with the map is really nice. The other thing, of course, in terms of just like scale, Lahairo's map is really big. I do like it. And the traversal methods with the motorbike are very nice, right? It's not too easy, I feel like, compared to flight, but also it gives you kind of like quite a few options. It's quite fun to do, and like overall I do enjoy it. Yeah, no worries, man. Have a good day. Oh, my Camellia is like kind of low. I just realized. I've never used this sigil before actually, so I don't really kind of like know how it works, but looks like it works fine. I know that you shouldn't be really running Camellia with a Frolova team, but I really don't have anything else, so this is what I have to do. Way back then. Yeah, no worries, man. I'm glad that my videos like do that for you. Like when I make like kind of like these videos, I'm just hoping that like someone out there just like gets to essentially enjoy them and kind of like learn something, maybe spark their own thoughts. Because this is kind of like sort of the same reason why I don't really do a lot of videos in regards to explain the story or the plot, is because I would rather prefer you guys have basically your own opinions and your thoughts on kind of like the story, and I'm mostly like what I talk about in my videos is mostly just supplementary information to perhaps like spark some new ideas or like let you guys know about something that you may not have thought about before, right? I want you guys to kind of think. I want you guys to have thoughts, which is why I'm not telling you how to perceive or understand a story. Nearby the cavity is just an exo, and close to Sunderman is TD. It's just Exoswarm. I think that's just because like the campus is much more kind of controlled. Sundermere is much more kind of wild and remote in regards to the Hyrule. With Astrites, my Astrites are actually I'm saving them up for getting. I'm hopefully gonna get 500 pulls by the time the Ameth's mana comes out, because I do want to be able to see 6 Ameth, which is why I'm doing a gambling stream, right? I actually had 550 pulls today because well, I had 550 pulls this morning, and then I caved and I just got Monya because I felt like if for a tower like TOA, like I needed like another team, so like I'll just run Monya. I actually can't even select Monya because my chat is in the way. But like I kitted out Monya this morning, and that way I'll have like basically I'll have Monya, and then I have like Linne for like basically a team for TOA. C6, yeah, of course. Like I save up like I don't know if you guys like know. I did say this before, but I really only pull once a year. Like maybe closer to like every. I only pull like every 9 months because I want to just C6 one character. I know it's better to kind of like pull more characters so you have more like kind of like stuff for teams. But like personally, I prefer to C6 characters to get like max teams. It's like for example, like the only resonator that I didn't really pull is actually kind of like, let me close the chat so you guys can see. The only resonator I didn't kind of pull was like Frolova, because I kind of like for Frolova I just caved because I wanted to basically like I just really enjoyed the story, so I just wanted to pull it. But for Frolova, you know, like that was a bit of an exception. But besides that, like kind of like Cardafia C6, Cardafia is like the most recent I pulled. And then Chacona I only pulled because I needed it for Carter support. Shorekeeper I pulled because it's just a great investment. Like if you don't pull Shorekeeper, you're dumb. Monya I had to pull. I just pulled this morning and I kitted out because I need a Ameth support. So I was kind of considering it. Same thing with Linne. I already also pulled Linne because I need a support for Ameth. And then besides that, the other C6 character I have is basically Jinsu. Jinsu was my first C6 because I kind of, with Jinsu, I kind of got lucky, and essentially that was why kind of like I pulled it eventually, because I think I got like really lucky. I got like 2 Jinsus in 110 pool. I got like, I won 50-50 a lot. Like basically like just very lucky all around. And, like after I got C6 Jinsus, I was like, damn, this is really satisfying. So what I'm gonna do is that I'm just going to basically from this point onwards, I'm just going to kind of like pull, right? I'm just gonna pull kind of like very like kind of like infrequently, but still kind of like getting like maybe every 9 months I C6 one character and like basically build a team around it. So I have a Karte team, I have a Jinsa team, and then for Lova, like accidental team, I suppose. So yeah, you can run C6 like Heart CS6 solo because like Heart of Fear like has so much kit that just like applies arrow erosion by herself. But I mostly just run it with support because like like kind of like Arrow Rover is free, right? And then also Chacona does buff arrow damage with her outro skill, so like it's a little bit of kind of like a no-brainer in regards to like also like buffing cart. But yeah, like a lot of these S6 characters are right. They're almost like self-functioning, but it's just a bit of like a perfectionist thing. I guess you could say. Let me turn my chat back on. But yeah, kind of like essentially just like pulling S6 every month or so, and yeah, give or take, that's just how it goes. Good thing the game really fast when it comes to units. So yeah, like the thing is like with Wuthering Waves, right? Like the game Wuthering Waves as a game is just not bloody hard. Like you don't have a lot of kind of like requirements in regards to like clearing content. It's really easy to do, so like I just S6 stuff because I can, right? I just like instead of pulling every banner, I just like save up and like just splurge all of it at once. I'm just that kind of guy, I guess. Just to play more quick swap, yeah, that's completely understandable. I get that, but like personally for me, that's just like how I like to do things. Let me actually put it like a bit out here so like I can actually see the side of the screen. But yeah, like I mean, there's not really much else. Today was just again kind of like a bit of a test stream, but again, if you want me to basically kind of like stream more, feel free to kind of like let me know, because like it is a bit easier to stream now that I don't need to kind of like break my PC to do it after I figured out how to make OBS work. The other thing as well is that I'm in a couple days perhaps I'm going to be trying to improve the avatar. You can already see today the avatar is a little bit improved from last time. I'm going to be trying to improve it again. Probably trying to use PNG Tuber Remix, but we'll see how it goes, you know. And besides that, like there's really not much else today to go through. So yeah, like I mean, probably be ending this stream in about 5 minutes. But yeah, speaking of perfection, for some reason collect characters for lore, 6 marks on tax mark. Look, a lot of people joke that I only see 6 like Sentinel resonators, which is like kind of true. But my response to that is that if you're gonna spend your money, gamble your money on something, you gamble them on gods, right? You gamble your money on gods. It's just a more worthwhile investment. Let's be real. But yeah, there's not much else for the stream, so very much enjoy you guys coming here today, of course, as always. Glad to see, of course, the stream is doing much better than last time. So, if anything, thank you all for coming today. I do need to actually go out today, need to touch a bit of grass, so I will be having to end the stream here. But hopefully, if you guys enjoy it, we will stream at some other time. How much does it cost to S6? I would recommend, like, if you are lucky, about 500 pulls, which is why that's what I was aiming for. That's how much pulls it took for me to S6 cards. If you're unlucky, though, it's going to take more. Yeah, glad you guys enjoyed. Alright, hope you guys have a great rest of the day, and I'll be seeing you guys next time. Have a good one.